Good day, constellations of stars, especially to our grade 12 learners who are with us in our FB Live this afternoon. So again, Teacher Jade or Teacher Makmak, I hope that you are all feeling great now. And by the way, this is Teacher R from Lorenzo Tan National High School.
And of course, this is Teacher Jade Mark Abapo from Tangub City National High School. And we are your teachers,
Facilitators for today. And with that, our subject to be discussed this afternoon will be the personal development. And of course, our dear learners, please kindly prepare your self-learning materials as we go along the way with our discussion. But before we will proceed to our main topic, let us first review our previous discussion in personal development. So again, Teacher Makmak, last week we forget to last week we discussed about what influences our career choice and the influence factors. So, Teacher Makmak?
Okay, so let's start by giving our competency for today's topic. No? Explain the factors in personal development that may guide him or her in making important career decisions as adolescents.
Yes.
So, of course, Teacher Arno, why is it is very important, no? Kanina atay adolescent career choice.
Yes. That's very good question, Teacher Makmak. So again, being an adolescent, it is very important or very significant to have your own choice, especially when you are dealing with your career path, right?
Okay, yes.
So again, career selection is one of many important choices that will, that our learners will make and determine their futures. Of course, this decision will impact them throughout their lives because at the end of the day, the right career, the right career at the end will be the source of your happiness.
Yes,
so therefore, it is important to choose the right career for yourself, and of course, this will help you to enjoy your work and your work life as well.
Yes, exactly, Teacher Arno. Of course, in choosing a career path might help the students, no?
Yes,
set
of course.
their professional goals and develop their strategy for getting where they want to be.
Yes.
And as I know, Teacher Arno, there are 4 key factors in personal development for career success.
Yes.
Of course, Sir R, can you explain to our dear learners, no, the first key factor?
Since you mentioned a while ago that there are 4 factors in personal development, yes, no. So again, the first key factor in personal development for career success is number 1 is motivation. So kanang ginaingon nato Teacher Makmak nga encouragement or inspiration. Or yes, kung murag magdala nato ba mag-motivate, mag-drive nato to work. Of course, no? To work in any unsa ba nga field of life ang atong ganahan or walks of life, no?
Dako jud na siya nga
Yes,
factor
definitely
din,
kay
motivation.
So again, individuals who are motivated are also better and able to overcome setbacks and challenges as they occur in the workplace because they can remain focused on their purpose. So again, kaning pag-encourage magod Teacher Makmak, no, kanang usahay magod kanang di man gyud ta pareha og level sa kanang status sa kinabuhi ba, especially pareha nato Teacher Makmak nga gikan gyud sa kabus nga pamilya no. So upon doing those motivations nga nakita nato nga gipang-instill nga values, of course mga words of wisdom sa tuwang mga ginikanan, mao na nahimo nato nga kanang baseline sa itong pagpaningkamot, right? So again, in the motivation, there are 2 kinds, no? Mao ni silang gitawag na itong intrinsic and extrinsic. So when we speak of intrinsic, that is in our inner self, kana ba na sa pinakailalom na to. Oh. So intrinsic are these are motivated internally by something you want to achieve for yourself. Intrinsic motivations refer to the act of doing something that does not have any obvious external reward. So, you do it because it's enjoyable, perhaps interesting to you.
Yes, nakikita yung mga nangailahan po na no.
Yes.
Muna ilahang way of motivating yourself.
Yes. And moreover, not because of any outside incentives or pressures like rewards or deadlines. In other way of saying, intrinsic motivation is performing an activity for its own sake, not rather than the desire for some external reward or out from some external pressure. So, to clearly explain to our dear learners, teacher Mac, no, we will give some example of what are those intrinsic motivation. So, number one,
So,
number one, teacher Mac.
number one is playing sports, no? Because of course, ma-enjoy man good ta.
Of course.
Kamot na kung
Definitely, like pareha mo teacher Mac, unsa man imong ganahan nga sports.
Ako ang hilig is kuan gyud volleyball.
Volleyball,
Kasi
no?
nga ani ko ka mubo.
Oh, yes,
yung spike gyud ko.
Yes, di ba?
I love that sport,
Yes.
kanang volleyball.
Out from that, kabalo bita nga kanang ang pag-volleyball kay especially sa toa kay ang korte to nabi sa gawas yun outside wala, di ba no? Mga kuan, init kayo, init kay ang dula, pero taliwala sa kainit kay tungod gusto manggod nato nga modula, ma-enjoy. No? So without anything, bisa pag ang sugal ay sutirayra or tres modula kita kay tungod apil na sa tong intrinsic.
Being a student, no? Kanang grabe kayo ang ilahang mga projects, ihimo and everything. Para mas ma-motivate sila na ilahang humanon ilahang mga projects, even as no teachers no
Of course, definitely.
way of motivating sa tuang mga gipangbuhat kada adlaw no is of course through playing sport. Ikaw aside nato no, ikaw unsa may imong favorite na sport?
Naga kay kanang murag kumbaga daghan magugog inclined na sports ko pero one thing lang nga pinakaganahan gid nako
badminton
kuan jud kanang quantity siya ababs kanang basketball. Pero unsa
pero ikaw may rebound sa man, ikaw may
dili ako riba, ako ibudak-budak. Dili. Tungod magud po siguro sa kanang mauna gyud ang kanang traditionally ba mindset sa mga kuan mga bata basketball, volleyball, inana magid ato ang mga kuan kasagara.
Okay. So the next one, sir
yes, staying longer at work because you believe in your work. Daghan ta mga inani nga mga kaila.
Even kita.
Yes, of course no. Nga we believe magud nga kanang dili kay ganahan kita sa atmosphere sa atong trabaho.
Because ang ato ang profession.
Yes, of course.
Noble profession gid
yes.
ang kuan being teacher.
Without any kanang kumbaga after nato nga mag-overtime ta pero we do that because for the sake of our learners, of
para
course.
sa ilahang
Yes.
maon, of course, no. And the third one is using COVID positive affirmations, no, or paninindigan, no, because you want to change your mindset positively, of course.
Yes. Kada bang
We have that. Of course, so we have that paninindigan dyan,
yes.
no?
Kada kitawag na to og positive affirmation, not the COVID positive affirmation.
Nasayo po ba,
Yes,
Sir
that was typographical error, no? So nasayo pala
sa
sa yes.
So ako balikan sir para mas maklaro gid, no?
Yes.
So we have to we have that positive affirmations, no? We have that
Barugana.
Bisaya pa ato ang barugana,
Barugana.
no, sa ato ang pang-adlaw nga buluhaton.
Yes.
And of course, if you want to change your mindset, no, kay dili lang pod sa ingon nga karon ning ingon mo nimuhang desisyon nimo pagkaugma lahi na pod.
Yes, no.
Daghang kog kaila na. Pwede lang ta mo mention, no?
Yes,
But
you're right.
we have to be kanang we have to kanang bitawng strong sa ato ang desisyon gyud dapat
Yes.
panindigan nga mo na imong na desisyon mo na
Yes,
gid siya.
you're right, Teacher Mac. So let's go to the extrinsic motivation, Teacher Mac, no?
Yes.
So when we speak of extrinsic motivation, you are motivated by external factors such as money, the status, or power. So again, simply out, extrinsic motivation refers to the behavior of an individual to perform tasks and learn new skills because of the external rewards or avoidance of punishment. So in this case, Teacher Mac, you engage in behavior not because you enjoy. So klaro na to, ha?
So ang intrinsic is
yes, your inner self. Imuha ka itong mga kagustuhan.
Wala kay lain
yes, wala kay mga hidden
na
na
ay mabalik sa imo.
yes.
Imuha kay imong mga love
Yes.
na imong gibuhat, no?
Wala kay gi-expect ng something
Yes.
na in return, no? So this time, maybe nga naa kay after like money, the
Yes.
status or the power. So again, in this case, you engage in behavior not because you enjoy it or because you find it appealing or satisfying, but in order to obtain something of value in return or avoid something unpleasant. So, again, we will give an example,
Yes.
Teacher Macmac, to clearly explain what is this intrinsic motivation. So, number 1, Teacher Macmac.
Okay, so the first one is going to work no because you want to earn money. Yes.
Yes, also.
Muna siya gatong ingon nga love to teach and teach to love. So please if you have an idea sir.
Kana bang kuan lang.
Pasabot ang
Yes.
love to teach and teach to love.
Kana bang mo work lang ka with because of the money. Like say for instance, yato kasi mong trabaho din. Kung unsa lang puti mong trabaho kay mao man tong gatuon nimo nga mo compensate sa money nga imong trabaho. Mao to, that's enough. Wala na kay kung when it comes to naunsa ba na ang kumpanya, nangahagba ba na, nangaunsa. Wa kay palabot.
In short no kanang you are after sa imong salary
Yes,
no.
ano
Wala
lang.
kay for example dili kay nimo
dili kay
dili mo probag ka ng word nga extra mile.
Oo.
Wala ka ana.
Yes, dili ka mag-after kay mga
8 hours, for example, 8 hours naman ang muhang yung duty hours. So, after 8 hours, mula dito ka.
ana siya.
Kay, mura man ang
mao naman na siya. Kay, murag, ang imong nasa imong mindset ba, na-install sa imong mindset nga, kanira nga arm, or man pwede i-identify. So, ang money nga ma-earn ako, compensate na po dapat sa ako ang
kung pila ka hours ang
yes. Ngunana lang yung mga dili jud pareha tong uban nga like kanang bisag kuan na pag sila pangagpas nga inta natay ma-contribute sa organization nga mahimong malampuson
makatabang ka ba sa paglambo sa ka kuan organization. Okay, Sir R. Sir R, the next one.
Yes, akani for our dear learners, no? Studying because you want to get a good grades. Of course, having a good grades is
bisag kita.
Yes, of course. Definitely. So,
para natay dakong
yes.
sakto nga kuan.
Kay naman pa usahay nga win-win situation ba nga na kay good grades dayon mo compensate pa nga hatagan ka og rewards imong parents. Yes,
Kani mong grades from 95 above or flat 1 imong gado tanan din.
Tagaan ka
cellphone or sa baka ang pwede hatag.
Napagin sa uban or dili lang sa uban nga mga LGU like sa to ang LGU nga hatagan pag itong mga Latin awardees nga mga students no. So yes, maning kamot sila like si Princess tagaan og 20,000 so kinsa pa may mano pa na nimo di ba
yes of course naay ka na Sir Arno ang ako ang nailhan nga grabe kay siya ka kan ng sigtuon na din pagahuman of course na after pag graduate na niya na flat 1 tanan niya hang kuan or naay ubang subject flat 1 pero dako gyud po nga grade but wala siya na enjoy
so again
bahala og wala siya na enjoy sa iyahang pag kanabit ang mag-blur sa tuon. Pero ang iyahang aim is makakuha siya og dako nga grado.
So again that is extrinsic motivation, no? So number 3, no, another example, helping others because you hope for praise.
Yes.
Kana bang
gusto lang ka mutabang kay para i-appreciate ka
like pananglitan sa highway din gusto nimo tabangan ang tigulang nya kay nahuna nimo wala man pulahing tao nga nakakita.
So wala
lang. So pero kung pag daghang tao dagan jud ka magkarakara. La. Tabangan di ka nagtabok no. So again, those are kana bang usahay mga external factors nga maka-affect sa kwan. So
let's proceed to the third, no?
Yes, the third one.
Factor, no?
Yes.
So the third factor is the empathy, no? So we have that compassion. The ability to put yourself in another person's shoes, no? Of course, murabag imuhang i-consider imong self nga og ako pud kaha sa iyang kahimtang.
Ana ba?
To see things from their point of view. So all conflicts come from a lack of empathy, of course. Mamagin kay ako kung ako ang stand muna siya dili ko maminaw sa unsa dili nako sabton ang iyahang sitwasyon because I believe nga kana siya mo ni siya sakto.
Yes, you're right, teacher.
So dapat pud no nga kinahanglan naa sa taaning compassion, no. And of course it is important nga aspect to look for when hiring, no. Mo gana siya kanang ubang mga company or kanang mangita gyud sila kanang tawo or kanang nang-apply nga naani.
Nay pagbati sila hang
basin nasad kay i-add teacher R sa next nga factor.
Yes, okay. I think teacher Macmac deliver it very well said. So, another factor is the efficacy. No? So, ito yung pagiging epektibo ng sarili.
Okay,
No?
so, kung saan siya...
Yes, this is the ability to control your responses and your emotion without being passionless, no? So, in your response, no, in other words, you give the appropriate response in appropriate situation. So, again, kanin magong usahay, Teacher Mac, no, when we are in the hype of kana bitang angry, usahay, masukot, no?
Yes.
Mumuklaud ang ato ang mind because of our emotions. Like, dili na nato mabalance ang ato ang decision making, no?
Yes,
So,
kay ko ana.
yes, dili na ko makalimtan ng istorya sa amuang teacher sa una sa grade 3 mi nga katubang taliwala sa mga kasuko bitaw like sa parable man to siya Teacher Makmak sa agila o sa kuan sa agila o sa rabbit ba mga ana sige sila kuna tulad hantod nagbikil sila duha Teacher Makmak ako na lang dila lang ang istorya tanan then naginukuray pag ginukuray naabot sa pangpang sus kay pag abot sa pangpang kay tungod sa kasuko sa rabbit nga absong ganyang agila wa nakalimot man siya nga ang agila makalupad man di ay
yes.
unya ang rabbit kadi man makalupad so unsa nahitabo sa rabbit nahagbong sa pangpang so again the moral lesson of that story mingon siya nga despite of kana bang sa imuhang taliwala sa imong kasuko mamalansi jud ka kay at the end of the day ikaw ra gyapon maalaot yes so ang agila dara dito sa ibabaw gutanaw ra niya well the rabbit
dili ka mo click sa bait.
Yes,
enemy. Kay mamong gina sila part na sila ang strategy no para i-provoke kanila.
Yes, So again, so dito na ko na-realize na in every situation dili dapat maguba ang composure nimo.
Yes, dapat kanya pong guys.
Mao na nga kay kita tanan nagkalain-lain matagpagsulay sa kinabuhi. Lain-lain ta problema dayon. Ang uban bitaw matinga nga happy ra gyud siya despite sa kanang tanawon nimo iyang personal life dili kay siya na nakabonggang iyang kinabuhi pero ang happiness tsadang iyang
so of course the learners no they can explain this factor no
yes, of course,
by trying to kana bitawng consider no sa for example sa mga friend ilahang obserbaran or ilahang i-put ang ilahang self no
yes,
sa anang situation for them also to explain sa ubang mga learners or sa uban ng mga classmates nga inana na mga factor
yes
no?
because this factor is very kanang difficult for us to kana bang do kaya nga naman maski kita Teacher Makmak no sometimes kanang we are when the kana bang ang hype sa kasuko, inanabitaw, ang problema, ang emotion.
Hindi siya nga mabalance sa
mga learners. Na mastery ani Teacher
career mo good siya sila career success nila.
Yes,
dapat aware sila ani nga
what if nakasa
what they can explain.
Yes, of course.
Very well.
Paran nakasausa ka pagpanarbaho nya kasab-ang kasi mong amo, unya mo
kuan sad ka.
mo retaliate ka kay ganun kasabang mo
But wala sila kay balo.
Yes,
dili they have to kana bitang balance no
yes.
sa ilang emotion yun.
Yes, inana siya. So the last
factor is the social dexterity or the socially comfortable. It means that interacting with other people. So basic things like shaking people's hands or how you look them in the eye.
Yes.
So it is one of the key components of leadership.
You need to connect yourself or to communicate yourself with others.
Kana bang of course kaning mingin sila og kanang how you look them ay makita na gyud dato kung naay na suko nato.
Yes.
Sipatan ta
tino.
Bakit na happy nimo but with regards to the kanang career success no or kanang sa ilahang pagpili nila no
sa lang career path
dapat lahat gining makonsider.
Yes, you need to consider these factors, no? So
kaning being example of that Sir Arnold is being good in communicating with others or making friends.
Yes.
Not only sa verbal no but also silang physical ilang mga behavior.
Kay of course ang imo biya pong behavior mo shape biya po na mutabang bilang shape ang environment so upon in the environment na biya dato mga friends
especially sa work no
yes.
Dapat dili as kaning gingon na it is one of the key components of being a leader.
Yes,
so dapat naagid ni siya as one. Okay?
So, yes, we are done with our discussion in the 4 factors in personal development for career success. So, namely, katong iskutan na, motivation,
empathy,
yes,
and we have that social dexterity.
yes,
No?
and also the
Self-efficacy.
efficacy, no? So,
Of course, no, learners, no, you have to remember, no, that choosing a career is not only important, no, in terms of employability, but
yes,
a person is required to invest
yes,
his or her whole life,
yes,
no, in that career, of course, which needs a wise decision. That's why
yes,
we are explaining to them these factors, no, especially sa ilahang
yes. Especially when they are keep on preparing their future plans, of course, or ahead plans
because they
nila.
are, di ba, grade 12 na sila.
Yes,
So,
grade 12 na sila.
mag-college na sila.
So, they will go to the another
ang-
chapter of their kwan.
choose sila kung say best nga ilang or ilang kung say gusto nila.
Yes.
Okay, so let's proceed to the activity.
So, it's very easy, no? Just simply refer to their SLM and there is the direction, no? Let's check out your understanding by answering the following questions. So, there are, naka-stipulate dito ang kanang statement, no?
Yes.
Simply explain the factors in personal development that may guide him or her in making important career decisions as adolescents. So, the scoring will be referred to the rubrics.
Yes.
So, again, stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber
Cyber
School.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Ipipina, 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 ipipina.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. We are done with our discussion with the personal development a while ago, Teacher Makmak. So
Yes.
we will continue with the subject applied economics.
Okay, so for grade 12 learners, especially for the students of ABM Strand, now our second subject for this afternoon is applied economics. And before we are going to give you the topic and learning competency for today, let's have first a short summary of for the last topic that we've discussed. So previously, we have learned how to analyze different principles, tools, and techniques in creating a business. No? So, before a businessman can plan for its business future, he or she must first evaluate the business by identifying and analyzing the internal and external resources and threats and the SWOT. No? The SWOT analysis, and it is the tool that can help a proponent or the businessman by enabling him or her to identify and assess the internal and external forces that can affect the business.
Yes.
So today, our learning competency analyze the effects of contemporary economic issues affecting the Filipino entrepreneur. So since the focus of this competency is about entrepreneur, so let's define first what is an entrepreneurship. So it refers to the talent that some people have for organizing the resources of land, labor, and capital to produce goods, pursue new business opportunities, and develop new ways of doing things. And of course, Sir Arno, a person who does entrepreneurship is called an entrepreneur, while a businessman is a person who runs the business. Okay, so undertaking an original business idea. On the contrary, an entrepreneur is someone who first initiates a product or business idea and a person who conceives a unique idea or concept to start an initiative and bring it into reality.
Moreover, to Chimakmak, great entrepreneurs have the ability to change the way we live and work. And if successful, their innovations may improve standards of living, and in addition, they also create jobs and contribute to a growing economy. So however, in this topic, Teacher Makmak, we are going to analyze how to overcome the effects of the contemporary economic issues, problems that we are facing right now or in this time of pandemic crisis.
Yes, sir. Now, of course, from the word itself, analyze, gikan sa learning competence. So, it means that we are going to ato ang i-guide ang mga bata ang mga learners on
then how
to analyze,
yes,
especially sa effects of kaning contemporary
true
issues, and of course we are going to give them a step by step
process.
So before ta na mag-analyze, so we have the first thing ilang button is they're going to choose i-topic unsay lang i-analyze. So since ang topic is contemporary economic issues, so let's first explain or give them an idea what are the issues. So the first one is unsay pinakauna.
The first one is the investment and interest rates, So when we speak of investment and interest rates, Teacher Makmak, so investment is somewhat a determinant or a cause of income. So again, it is a process of building up a capital stock or the expenditure which determines the income and production of the economy. However, it refers to the value of machinery, plants, and buildings that bought by firms for production purposes.
Yes.
So, on the other hand, investment is the capital expenditure on the purchase of physical assets such as plant, machinery, and equipment, and it's also known as fixed assets, right?
Yes.
So, and the stock also known as the inventory investment.
Yes, you're right, Teacher Arno. So that is for the investment. And in interest rates, it is the amount a lender or creditor, the banks or any lending institutions, charges for the use of assets expressed as a percentage of the principal. So, ano siya ang katong murag, and for example, an annual interest rate of 5%, it means that 5 pesos is paid in interest for every 100 pesos saved or borrowed.
Borrowed.
So meaning mo ni siya ma-add sa ilahang principal, no, or ilahang bayaran nila. Okay, and now the question is how interest rate influences the level of investment in the economy. Typically, higher interest rates reduce investment because higher rates increase the cost of borrowing and require investment to have a higher rate of return to be profitable.
Absolutely.
Yes. Example of that, teacher Arno, is assuming that the inflation is 0
Yes.
and the interest rates are 5%. Then, any investment project would need an expected rate of return of at least greater than 5%, of course, no?
Yes.
To justify the cost of borrowing.
Exactly, Teacher Macmac. So, there are effects of a high investment also and interest rates to the business for Filipino entrepreneurs.
So, muna ni siya, no? Ang
yes.
part, ganina, no?
Yes,
ang first nga step nilang buhaton is, of course, they're going to choose
Yes.
an argument or itapik, no?
Topic.
And now, they are going to take note or i-analyze, no?
Yes.
Or unsay mga, or
The
effect,
effect.
no? Effects.
So these are the effects, no, of a high investment and interest rates to a certain business or a certain Filipino entrepreneur. So, so for instance, the customer with the debt have less income to spend because they are paying more interest to lender banks. Sales fall
Yes, no.
as a result,
Of
right?
course.
So another one is the companies with overdrafts will have higher costs because they must now pay more. They must now pay more interest.
Yes, muna siya isa sa mga kuan.
Yes, the effects
Muna effect yun, no?
of a
If
very high
investment
investment and interest rate.
Of course, kay kung kanang mga kanang naay mga utang, no, of course they're going to pay, no, less gid ilang income.
Definitely.
Kay of course ang ilahang ang ilahang halin of ibis muna siya ang anang adlaw, of course mga makuan din siya sa interest nga
Of
ilang
course,
bayaran sila.
katumanday gud ang ilahang mga puhunan kay pinaagi man gud sa utang.
Yes,
Oh,
muna siya.
that's why even though they have the income, but again,
Kuan gid siya.
they
Less
will
gid
spend
siya.
also because they will pay more interest to the lender and banks.
Yes. So next issue, no, is rentals, no. Of
Yes,
course,
the rentals.
Ang kanang panjud kay ng common, no. Rent expense is an account that lists the cost of occupying rental property during a reporting period. So this expense is one of the larger expenses reported by most of the organization. So after the cost of goods sold and compensation expense, for example, no, Sir Arno, kanang commercial lease, no. So we have to say that an entrepreneurs paid 14,000 and above monthly or even yearly for space they occupy. So
Yes.
wala siya ang sa rentals.
Yes. So, another contemporary economic issue, Teacher Macmac, is the minimum wage. No? So, under Republic Act number 602, Section 2, Paragraph J, that's what we call the wage,
Yes.
no? Paid to any employee shall be mean the payment or earnings, however, designated capable of being expressed in the terms of money, whether fixed or ascertained on time. Thus, piece, commission basis, or other method of calculating the same, which is payable by an employer to an employee under a written or unwritten contract of employment for work done or to be done or for services rendered to be rendered, and includes the fair and reasonable value as determined by the Secretary of Labor of board, lodging, or other facilities customarily furnished by the employers to the employee. So Section 3 of that Teacher Macmac is, again, we are talking on the minimum wage, right?
Yes.
No? So Section 3 of the article, the Republic Act number 602, the minimum wage, paragraph A, every employer shall pay to each of his employee who is employed by an enterprise. So, what are the immediate effects on this? Again, the question here is, what are the immediate effects to this
course,
entrepreneur.
yes,
no?
of course, naagid ni siya yung mga effect, no? These are the effects, no, to the entrepreneurs, no? The immediate issue with a higher minimum wage, if you are an employer, is the potential for your first is the labor cost to increase.
Absolutely.
It is especially difficult, sir, no? If you are in an industry such as food service, where
That's right.
margins are already resulting. Of course, gamay ra ang ginansya. And a lot of your employees earn minimum wage. Yes, of course. And even if you don't draw your employees from the minimum wage pool, a hike in the minimum wage could make your employees unhappy.
Yes.
Dili nga sila malipay.
Oo.
With their compensation and force you to raise your own rates.
Yes.
And the second one is driving up pricing, no? Classical economic theory predicts that when wages go up,
Yes.
prices go up.
Yes.
Of course. Mugin na siya ang mura ba og kanang theory nga sa una pa nga gina-consider, no?
That's right. That is very true, no? That when the wages or income goes up, the prices also will increase to cover up the additional labor cost expenses. So, again, the last contemporary economic issue that we will tackle this afternoon, Teacher Mac, is another one is the taxes, right?
Taxes.
So, it is a compulsory financial charge or some other type of levy or charge imposed on the taxpayer or an individual or a certain legal entity. So, by a governmental organization in order to fund government or spending a various public expenses. Examples of this are percentage tax, no?
Yes.
So, when we speak of percentage tax, those who are not VAT registered but who sell goods, properties, or services. Another tax.
Yes, the second one is value-added tax or the VAT, no, nga natong magbakitan sa resibo,
Yes,
no? VAT is commonly expressed, no, as a percentage of the total cost nga natong napalit, no? For example, if a product costs 100 pesos and there is a 15% VAT, so the consumer pays 115 pesos to the merchant, no? Or to the seller. The merchant keeps 100 pesos and remits the 15 pesos to the government. That is the VAT or the value-added tax. And the third one, sir?
Yes, another form of tax is the quarterly and annual income tax. So, this tax can be paid quarterly or 3 months.
Yes, of course.
Another one.
And the last one there is the local business taxes, no? All entities doing business are required to pay local business.
Yes.
Okay, so stay tuned because
We will be right back after a short break.
This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division. Problema dali ra sulbaron, kay ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Ipipina, 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 ipipina.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Yes, Teacher Macmac?
Okay, so of course, we're done with the issues, no,
Yes.
sa contemporary economic issues. Of course, no, when they're going to from the competency itself analyze, no, they have to kana bang consider, no, these steps, no.
Yes.
Kay namo gina siya ato ang agian sa pag-analyze dili pud nga mo anta dito diretsyo, no. So the first thing ay ilahang buhaton or the first step, no, is going to choose a topic, no. Of course, in choosing the topic, no, they're going to begin by choosing the elements or areas of their topic,
Yes.
na, and that they will analyze. Of course, they'll need to break down the topic or the theory, the issue. Of course, ato issue man na.
Yes.
And or the story that they are going to analyze. Of course, sa tuang contemporary economics, of course, that is an issue. So kinahanglan nga ilahang i-break down.
Yes,
na,
i-break
what are
down.
the issues, no?
Yes.
Of course.
Like ato ganina nasgutan nato the taxes, the minimum wages,
Yes,
we will break
of
it down.
course. So
And
ilahang
then-
pang breakdown.
Yes,
Para ilahang, of course, ilahang maka-focus sila sa ilahang unsa ilang i-analyze. Okay? And then, the second one there, no, let's make it quick na lang. No?
Yes.
For the second one is, they're going to analyze na, no?
Yes,
O,
yes, yes.
diha na nila sila mag-research na, or they're going to find if kanang source nga very reliable, no? They're going to
Absolutely.
take notes, no? So, in making some notes for each of the element or for each of the element of the contemporary issues, no, with regards to the issues that they're going to examine
Yes.
or they're going to analyze, they're going
Analyze.
to use, no, or they're going to ask, no, using the why, no, why and how questions, no.
Yes. Why and how questions.
Yes, from the word itself, why ngano man nga ngano man nga kani siya nga mga issues mo siya an effect, no, to the Filipino entrepreneur. And
Yes.
how,
Mm.
no, ngano giunsa,
Giunsa.
no. Okay, so and of course they're going to do, no, some outside research that may help to
Yes.
answer their questions. So for example, na ito example, no. So how does this element affect, no, the other pieces or sa atuang nga topic karon is why, no?
Yes.
Why this is this element effective or ineffective? Okay, for the third one or the last step,
Yes.
no, kailangan i-consider in analyzing is they're going to draw a conclusions, no? Of course, mo ginay last man gyud nga batang after we've gather information regarding sa unsa nga atong topic nga pilian, no?
Yes.
They're going to draw a conclusion. So okay, so based on sa questions, no, nga ilahang na raise, no? So they're going to get the answers of each. So naman tay pila to kabog issues, Sir R?
I think 4.
4, no? 4 issues. So there, if sa every questions nga ma-raise nila in every issues, na they are going to get the answers of that, and then ilahan din ng i-combine for them to have a conclusion. Okay? So of course, no, when we go back to the taxes, no, imposition of taxes will lead to an increase, no, of cost of production. So
Yes.
mo to siya ang steps. Okay,
Yes.
learners ha, don't forget mo siya ang steps sa pag-analyze, not only in this topic but also in the future topics na to. So the first one there is to choose a topic or argument. The second one is you have to take notes sa inyong mga na-analyze.
Yes.
And then sa inyong you're going to find a source nga very dili bitaw ka ng gikan sa mga fake
Yes.
usa pa fake news, no?
Yes.
And of course, the third or the last one is they're going to draw conclusions based on their questions nga na-raise sa why and how. Okay, so learners, those are the economic issues that we are going to analyze. So this time, we will proceed to our learning activity for this afternoon.
Yes, but yes, okay, teacher Macmac. But before we will give the learning activity for this afternoon, teacher Macmac, the students or our dear learners there, no, kindly prepare and get yourself learning materials.
Okay, so since our competency is analyzed, no, we have there the direction that is 20 points. Now they're going to read and understand the text. Of course, they're going to follow, no, those steps, no, nga ato ang introduce ganiha on how to analyze. But this one is lahi siya nga situation, no. They're going to answer the question below in a 2 to 3 sentences only.
Yes.
So naa din makita na silahang SLM unsa ng case nga naa din
Yes,
na.
like case list diana no nga gibutang.
Yes.
So you can simply refer it to your SLM.
Yes, of course. Okay? So I guess no ang first lang question nila is after analyzing the above caselet, no, would the Bayanihan Act too helpful to the Filipino entrepreneurs and then support your
So they are going to support their answers. Yes.
Okay, Mr. R?
Yes, of course, we are done with our discussion today for the senior high school or the grade 12 learners para sa atong senior high school. So, again, our second attendance
Yes.
marker for the senior high school, flash on the screen or you can see in the top of your screen.
Please don't forget to take
Yes,
note.
so ato nang i-take note dira.
Okay,
And of
Teacher R,
course,
magpasalamat ha.
yes, magpasalamat kita
Sa ato ang mga learners, of
yes,
course.
ito mga learners. And of course, this has been your Teacher R from Lorenzo Tan National High School.
And of course, Teacher Jade Mark Abapo from Tangub City National High School.
This is
Astral
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Bye!
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, Guiding K-12 Learners under broadcast media, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tangkub, we learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tangkub lang.
One important skill that you must possess is your ability to gather information from different sources available, especially during this pandemic. You will be exploring different forms of media that will make you a good reader and a good listener when it comes to news and updates of what is happening now. You will be asking yourself on details that matter the most to you and to the people in general.
There are many sources that might be useful, especially when you're going to research on a particular topic. You don't need to rely into one available source only, but also consider sources that will be helpful in making your essay, article, or research paper. Before going further, let us first define the following terminologies. Print media, or print-based media. Broadly, any written or pictorial form of communication produced mechanically or electronically using printing, photocopying, or digital methods from which multiple copies can be made through automated processes.
Non-print media. Non-print media includes everything other than print, such as television, radio, digital, out-of-home, and so on. This time, let us view a particular portion of the episode, Rotan Totoy B-Boy, and observe how the sources of information are presented in the video.
What's up mga kabarads? It's Totoy here!
And B-Boy here!
Tambay na naman tayo dito sa Rutang Totoy!
B-Boy!
Okay mga kabarads, nandito tayo ngayon sa isa namang highlights ng aming lugar tuwing Disyembre. Ito ay ang Christmas Symbols!
As you can see, kami lang dalawa ni Totoy kasi nag-ghost kami ng aming tropang igigayas sana namin ngayon. So mga kabarads, larga na!
Alamana momi yewa motese.
That you have noticed the sources of information being highlighted in the video. Can you give some? If poster is in your list, then congratulations, you're right.
What do you think is the purpose of mounting the poster along the vicinity of the city plaza? Exactly! It is to give information and to promote the place and the amenities offered for the local tourists and residents.
Poster is one of the tools used in print media. It is usually a large printed sheet that often contains pictures and is posted in a public place or is put on a wall as decoration. It is a temporary promotion of an idea, product, or event put up in a public space for mass consumption. Is a poster an example of print media or a non-print media? How about the following? Newspaper, podcasts, television, radio, computer, newsletter, magazine, cell phone, billboard, and website. To make you certain about your answer, let's dig deeper. There are two types of media. These are the print media and the non-print media. Media is a general term to the communication outlets through which we inform the public the different important data like news, music, movies, education, promotional messages, and other data. It includes physical and e-newspapers or online newspapers, magazines, billboards, radio, televisions, telephone, and the internet. Print media. Based on the Oxford reference, print media is defined as any written or pictorial form of communication produced mechanically or electronically using printing, photocopying, or digital methods from which multiple copies can be made through annotated processes. This is the best type of media that we are still using up to this day. Examples of print media are newspapers, books, journals, magazines, and reports. Newspapers are published daily or weekly, and they cover different topics from local to international news. Functions of newspapers. First, as an information provider. Second, as opinion builder. Third, as an entertainment provider. And lastly, as a ground for advertising. Magazines are issued periodically, either annually, quarterly, monthly, and weekly. They provide information, entertainment, and facilitate advertising.
Non-print media. Non-print media, on the other hand, are means used to inform people without using paper or print. They have become very common to all people, both as a tool in the educational process and as means of spreading information all throughout the world. TV and radio are examples of broadcast media. The radio was invented about a century ago, while television came up at the end of the 1940s. One fast-growing medium is the internet. It offers people content from all other forms of media. It is booming amidst the expense of the other two mentioned earlier. Many people are depending on the internet while they are working, shopping, learning, or even spending leisure or pleasure time. Mobile devices or cell phones are wireless devices that can receive and send messages, browse the net, take photos, play games, and record videos. It also has applications that gives user access wherever and whenever. So what is your favorite app? Is it TikTok, Wordscapes, or Candy Crush Saga? Social media is a combination of online telecommunication channels where netizens or citizens using the internet interact, share content, and collaborate. Examples of this type for social networking are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You could have a Facebook account with thousands of friends across the globe.
A podcast is a piece of this audio-like story, interview, or documentary. It can be downloaded from the internet. Created in 2014, podcasting has become famous for making people enjoy listening these audio-like stories, interviews, or documentaries wherever they go. Website is a presentation of images, videos, or information posted on the internet. By searching a certain keyword using the search engine, it will lead you to a certain website. The information posted on this site varies from certain topics that offer other links, advertisements, and other pop-out images. one must be able to differentiate reliable sources from unreliable ones. Video is a recording of motion pictures or television programs for playing through a television set. Nowadays, video is popularly found on the internet like on YouTube, Facebook, or Netflix. It can be downloaded from YouTube and seen on Facebook. Netflix offers a variety of movies that you need to pay a premium before watching. There are actually two types of sources. A primary source is anything that presents direct evidence or information about people, events, or phenomena that you are looking for. The information that you are researching comes from witnesses or comes from actual setting itself. Examples of these sources are interviews, surveys, experiments, letters, photographs, and newspapers.
Secondary source is anything that describes, interprets, evaluates, or analyzes information out from the original source. Some examples are books, articles, reviews, and essays.
Now that you're already equipped with the skill on how to research information using print and non-print media sources, kindly get your activity sheet and do the task. Activity number 1. Directions. As a grade 7 student, your teachers will be asking you to do some researching on a certain topic to be used in essay writing or reporting. You are now going to list down your sources and answer what is needed on the box below. The first one is done for you.
Activity 2. Directions. Research 5 information about a given topic, then indicate the source. Topic: COVID-19. Researching a topic with support from print and non-print media is a skill that a 21st century student like you should be able to master. With the rise of modern technologies, news coming from fake sources also flood the internet gateways.
You, being a responsible citizen, must be able to choose your information well. It has to come from credible media platform, whether print or non-print. Surely, if you have the correct information, it will help you become an eligible person and not easily persuaded by other people's unbiased opinion.
Remember to support your sources from trusted sources.
Thank you for your time, learners. This has been your English teachers, Mama Halia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Bye!
Hello grade 7 learners, I am teacher James and welcome to another learning episode of Astral Academy Cyber School. Our lesson for today in TLE Handicraft Exploratory course is to identify the basic tools used in embroidery. Embroidery is the ornamentation of textiles and other materials with needlework for personal use and decoration not only at home but for offices as well. The term embroidery is an English word derived from the Old French embroiders, meaning edge and border. Here are the tools and materials used in embroidery. Gauge, used to measure short distance. Tape measure, used for measuring more than 1 foot distance or materials. Thimbles, made from metal or plastic to protect the middle finger and push the needle while doing your embroidery work. These come in sizes of 6, which is small, to 12, which is large. Cruel. Sizes of 1 to 10 are sharp-pointed, medium length, with large eyes for easy threading. They are used for most standard embroidery stitchery. Chenille. Sizes of 13 to 26 are also sharp-pointed needles, but they are thicker and longer and have larger eyes. They are that types of needles appropriate for embroidery that is worked with heavier yarns. Embroidery hoop or stiletto, made of wood, bone, metal, or plastic, used to make eyelets in the fabric to be embroidered. It is also used to keep the fabric stretched while embroidery stitches are applied on the design. It is advisable to place tissue paper over the inner hoop or twist, or wrap the inner hoop with a thin material to prevent markings on the fabric. Embroidery scissor is a small, sharp, and pointed, good for fine work, used for trimming scallops, clipping threads, and cutting large eyelets. Needle threader is used for easier threading, especially by those sewers with poor eyesight. Tracing paper, used for tracing designs. Watercolor brush, used for transferring the design using pricking and bouncing methods. Bag, to keep work clean and fresh, have a bag made from washable material to hold your work when not busy on it. Sewing box, used to keep together the embroidery tools and materials. Materials used in embroidery. Fabric, sometimes referred to as cloth, are of great variety, and they differ in material, weave, design, color, and finish. 3 types of fabric. Common weave includes most tightly woven fabrics with a relatively smooth surface like linen, wool, and cotton. They are best used for articles with decorative stitches. Even weave are intended for hardanger embroidery, since the number of threads per square inch is same for both warp and woof. Basket weave is commonly used by beginners, and ramel linen by those who have been used to this embroidery. It supplies guidelines for cross-stitch and smocking, having an evenly spaced pattern like gingham cloth and polka dots. Another material used in embroidery is thread. Thread is available in various types. They differ in terms of texture, fiber content, number of strands, and colors. Threads are usually coded in numbers and color names. They can be both in skeins, bowls, or spools. The color of the thread should suit the color and texture of the design and the fabric to be embroidered. There you have it, learners. Those are the different tools and materials used in embroidery. This time, let's try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Handicraft Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, love is what carries you, for it is always there, even in the dark, or most in the dark, but shining out at times like gold stitches in a piece of embroidery. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tango Stars.
grade 8 learners, and welcome to Ang Tangkub, your one and only educational TV program where you learn new things every day.
Were you able to encounter a combination of 2 or more communication modes in one particular piece of writing or literature? Surely you do. Especially when you watch a movie, all semiotic systems are actually combined.
What we are referring to is the focus of this lesson. Yes, for at the end of this lesson, you are expected to compare and contrast the presentation of the same topic in different multimodal texts.
To get going, let us define these important terms.
Multimodal texts convey meaning through a combination of elements that draw upon several semiotic systems.
Semiotic system is a system of signs and symbols that which are used to convey meaning.
There are 5 semiotic systems. First, linguistic. This involves vocabulary, structure, grammar of oral or written language.
Second, visual. It involves color, vectors, and viewpoint in still and moving images.
Audio has something to do with volume, pitch, and rhythm of music and sound effects.
The fourth one, gestural. It has movement, facial expression, and body language.
And lastly, spatial. This includes proximity, direction, position of layout, organization of objects in space. Now, to illustrate an example of multimodal text, let us watch this video playback.
Mga barad, may naisip na akong content. Baka gusto nyo mag-guest sa vlog namin ni B-Boy.
Wow, excited na ako para bukas, Barad. Nasaan na kayong mga tao dito? December na December. Pero ang daming ghost.
Gawa ka na lang ng poll, Brad. Baka sakaling matauhan sila.
Sige, Barad. Uy! May improvement!
Based on the video, you have learned that Totoy made a poll in order to know how many of his friends are going to the Christmas symbols capital of the Philippines. Do you think what Totoy used is an example of multimodal texts? If you answered yes, you're correct. Now you might ask, what makes a multimodal text? You can always go back to the definition given a while ago and make a checklist in your head. If you think that the example has linguistic elements, check it. If you think it uses visual systems, either still or moving image, another check. If you were able to check at least 2, then what you are reading or seeing is an example of a multimodal text. Let us have another example. The story of Buddha. Queen Yashodhara once had a dream that she gave birth to her son next to a white elephant. The queen miraculously gave birth to her son Siddhartha Gautama. Gautama was predicted to be a big ruler or god from birth. He is born in 6th B. Gautama's dad did not want him to be a big ruler, and since the household is patriarchal, he decided to give him all the luxuries in order to make Gautama happy. The young man went to the real world and realized that people suffered. He saw an injured man, an old man, and a corpse. The young man isolated himself from all his luxuries. He started to contemplate in order to find the answer of why people suffered and had pain. He was very focused, for he ignored all surroundings and only focused on one thing. He found an answer after a long time. He reached the goal of everyone: enlightenment. Because of this, he is now known as Buddha, or the Enlightened One. Buddha wanted his philosophy to be spread towards the world so he sends missionaries to other countries. Nowadays, Buddhism is a culture in which people follow the Noble Truths and Eightfold Path in order to reach enlightenment. The people are also very cohesive due to how Buddha became a leader and wanting to follow his footsteps. That is a storyboard about the life of Buddha. This is also a multimodal text because of the combination of two semiotic systems, such as linguistic and visual. Now, let us try to compare and contrast this one presented in the storyboard and the other one in a 5-minute video clip. Please watch this.
Look at that cute little prince. It's Buddha. Though right now he's still called Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha lives in a palace in India. His parents believe that this little guy will become something extraordinary. To know this for sure, they ask an astrologer to consult the stars about the future. He will either become a very powerful ruler like his father, or he becomes a holy man and your family will lose all power in the kingdom. Oh my! Don't worry as long as you keep him away from sickness, aging, poverty and death, it will be all right. They decide to protect the prince from all such experiences. Siddhartha grows up, gets married and has kids without having met ordinary people outside the palace. But one day, Siddhartha drives his cart outside the palace area. There he witnesses how ordinary people live. He sees an old man, a sick man, and a beggar monk in the street. He also drives by a dead man. What? People get sick and are poor and die? Life is just endless suffering. Siddhartha doesn't want to suffer, and he doesn't want anyone else to do so either. This must be solved. He leaves his wife and child and goes away. Siddhartha asks a lot of wise men for advice on how to live, but doesn't get any good answers. So he decides to try not eating. He will starve himself like a beggar monk, an ascetic. Look how thin he has become. This clearly doesn't work. It won't make one happier. No, Siddhartha realizes this. He gives up the idea of starving himself and sits down beneath a Bodhi tree to meditate. Here he decides to stay until he's found the solution. Nothing will make him move. An evil demon called Mara appears to tempt him. Mara offers him lots of great things, but Siddhartha just stays put. And finally, after having meditated for 49 days, Siddhartha realizes what's wrong. Humans are never satisfied. They always want more. And this wanting to have more never ends. And then the suffering never ends either. So now Siddhartha has realized how it is. He has become enlightened. And that is what the word Buddha means. Now he is no longer Siddhartha Gautama, but Buddha. Buddha wants more people to realize this. Some of his friends listen to him and start to follow him. They become his disciples. Buddha preaches to them and to other people. At this time in India, everyone is Hindu. The Hindus believe in rebirth, reincarnation. You are born, live, die, are born, live, die, and so on, in an endless cycle, samsara. Stop! I want to get off! Buddha preaches the importance of getting free from samsara. Getting reborn makes it impossible to avoid suffering. Buddha had tried both being rich and starving. These are two exaggerated ways of living, and neither are good. He believes it to be better to choose a middle way. But hey, Buddha, if you're not born again, where do you end up after death? You don't get to a place, but to a condition where you don't want anything. Nirvana. Why do you call it nirvana? Nirvana means blown out. All your desires are blown out, and you have reached a kind of peace. Buddha wanders around preaching how to reach nirvana. When Buddha dies, there have become many disciples. Now it's time for them to pass on his teachings.
Similarly, both presented the same story about the life of Buddha. What makes all the difference is the 5-minute video was able to provide us with more information than the printed version. The printed version, which is the storyboard, is limited because it attempted to present the whole story of the life of Buddha, or Siddhartha Gautama, in just 6 frames of photos. It is right to say that the video clip contains more information, and this piece of information must be retained by viewers or students like you. According to some studies, the more senses are involved in learning, the more chances of retaining new information and knowledge. Comparing and contrasting the presentation of the same topic in different multimodal text is easy. You just need to be observant and critical about the things that make them the same or different. Bear in mind that still images are incomparable to photographs, which could be a one-man show, while moving or motion pictures and videos are actually a collective effort. For instance, the video is said to be collective as we cannot have a video with just one still image. For making a video, you need to be able to capture many interesting images. Then all of them together will make an entirety. There are also some advantages of still visuals and photos, as the storyboard a while ago, in the sense that you can understand and read a story in one setting without the use of any technology, such as television, phone, or any viewing gadget. Once printed on a book or paper, you can read it and analyze anytime and anywhere.
Some other examples of multimodal text are the following:
Movies,
infographics,
booklets,
sketchnoting,
books,
emails,
podcasts,
advertisements,
newscasts,
book trailers,
animation,
images with annotation,
comics,
brochures,
broadcasts,
animation,
visual note-taking,
tutorial guides,
mind map,
presentations,
type drawing,
text messages,
ebooks,
letters,
diagrams,
posters,
cards,
videos,
screenshots,
blogging. To emphasize multimodal texts, from the prefix multi, which means many, and modal, which means way of communicating information. So from now on, when you see, watch, or view something that communicates a message using more than one semiotic system, it is surely an example of multimodal text.
This time, it's your turn to tell us your understanding about the lesson. Kindly get your activity sheet in English, read the directions, and do or answer what is asked of you. We know you can make it!
Directions. Compare and contrast the presentation of the same story, The Tale of Chunyang, in different multimodal text. The first one is a short animated video clip, and the second one is a plot diagram, through the use of a Venn diagram. The link of the short animated video is flashed on your screen. Continue to love, care, and share grade 8 learners. This is Mama Halia
and Mom Pinky,
your English teachers. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. God bless and never take English learning for granted. It is your passport to the world. Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello grade 8 learners, I am teacher James and welcome to another learning episode of Astral Academy's Cyber School. Our lesson for today in Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course is to identify the hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing. A tool is a handheld device that aids in accomplishing a task. Tools range from a traditional metal cutting part of a machine to an element of a computer program that activates and controls a particular function. Hardware tools. To complete hardware repairs, it is important to have a toolkit that should contain all of the necessary tools. As you gain experience, you will learn which tools to have available for different types of jobs. Hardware tools are grouped into these 4 categories. Electrostatic discharge or ESD tools, hand tools, cleaning tools, diagnostic tools. Electrostatic discharge or ESD tools. Static electricity is easily generated by friction on carpets, tile, flooring, clothing, hair, fabric, and etc. The friction of moving air alone will charge suspended particles and cause the buildup of static electrical charges on people and objects in the environment. Grounded anti-static work mats used with anti-static wrist straps provide the most basic means for the controlled discharge of electrostatic electricity. Examples of ESD tools are anti-static wrist strap, used to prevent ESD damage to computer equipment. Anti-static mat, used to stand on or place hardware on to prevent static electricity from building up. Hand tools. A hand tool is a device for performing work on a material or a physical system using only hands. The hand tools can be manually used, employing force, or electrically powered using electrical current. Examples of hand tools. Flathead screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten slatted screws. Phillips head screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten cross-head screws. Torque screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten screws that have a star-like depression on the top, a feature that is mainly found on laptops. Hex driver, sometimes called a nut driver, is used to tighten nuts in the same way that a screwdriver tightens screws. Needle nose plier, used to hold small parts. Wire cutter, used to strip and cut wires. Tweezers, used to manipulate small parts. Part retriever, used to retrieve parts from locations that are too small for your hand to fit. Flashlight, used to light up areas that you cannot see well. Cleaning tools. Having the appropriate cleaning tools is essential when maintaining or repairing computers. Using these tools ensures that computer components are not damaged during cleaning. Examples of cleaning tools. Lint-free cloth, used to clean different computer components without scratching or leaving debris. Compressed air, used to blow away dust and debris from different computer parts without touching the components. Cable ties, used to bundle cables neatly inside and outside of a computer. Parts organizer, used to hold screw, jumpers, fasteners, and other small parts and prevents them from getting mixed together. Diagnostic tools. Computers are easier to use and more dependable with each new generation of hardware and operating system update, but that doesn't mean they're problem-free. Here's the most popular tools for diagnosing your computer problem. Multimeter, used to test the integrity of circuits and the quality of electricity in computer components. Loop-back adapter, used to test the functionality of computer ports. There you have it, learners. Those are the different hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing. This time, let's try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, it is essential to have good tools, but it is also essential that the tools should be used in the right way. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
We get or gather information not just from a book or a newspaper. We can actually gather information from various sources, which are often useful. Readily available printed text or media explaining what purpose and services you are looking for should come in handy.
What's up, grade 9 learners? We hope that you are doing great today and are now ready to develop your skills in getting information from different printed media. Hence, learning the following significant terminologies will help us in our journey of meaningful learning. Print media or print-based media. Broadly, any written or pictorial form of communication produced mechanically or electronically using printing, photocopiing, or digital methods from which multiple copies can be made through automated processes. There are several tools used in print media, and they are as follows: newspaper, magazine, journals, newsletters, flyers, brochures or pamphlets, leaflets, and posters.
This time, let us view a segment of the episode, Rotang Totoy B-Boy, and kindly observe the tool used in the video to give information about the featured tourist destination.
What's up mga kabarads? It's Totoy here!
And B-Boy here!
Tambay na naman tayo dito sa Rutang Totoy!
B-Boy!
Okay mga kabarads, nandito tayo ngayon sa isa namang highlights ng aming lugar tuwing Disyembre. Ito ay ang Christmas Symbols!
As you can see, kami lang dalawa ni Totoy kasi nag-ghost kami ng aming tropang igigaya sana namin ngayon. So mga kabarads, larga na!
Alamana momi yewa motese.
I'm sure that you have noticed the printed materials shown in the video. Can you give some? If poster is included in your list, then congratulations, you've got it right.
What do you think is the purpose of mounting the poster along the vicinity of the city plaza? Exactly! It is to give information and to promote the place and amenities offered for the local tourists and residents. Poster is one of the tools used in print media. It is usually a large printed sheet that often contains pictures and is posted in a public place or is put on a wall as decoration. It is a temporary promotion of an idea, product, or event put up in a public space for mass consumption.
Aside from poster, one information that works well to deliver information is brochure. A brochure is a concise, visually appealing, and well-designed document in order to grab the attention of the viewers. In this lesson, you will be learning about the significant features of brochures and their purpose. In order to learn those, let us first accomplish this task. Prepare a response for these questions inside the brochure chart. Remember about the place you visited before. Questions. First, where did you go? Second, who were your companions? Third, what were the activities you engaged while you were there? Fourth, when did it happen? Were there time frame in your vacation? And lastly, how did you get there? Were there directions to help you? The responses you made are just few of the information that a brochure should contain. Not only to promote something, but also to offer expectations for the readers. Now you must learn that a brochure is a printed media or an informative paper document, often used for sharing and is usually a promotional material. Brochures are actually being referred to as pamphlets, flyers, or leaflets. In addition, a brochure can also be used to first explain your organization's purpose and services. Second, provide significant information about an organization or travel. And lastly, to educate people about a specific program or event. An example of a travel brochure will be flashed on your screen. Study the material so that you can answer the questions that follow. Questions. Who are the target visitors? Second, what are some activities can a tourist have? Third, were there directions? Cite some. Fourth, when will it happen? What is the time frame? Fifth, why do some tourists want to experience all the activities? Let us see if we have almost the same answer. The first question is, who are the target visitors? The target visitors are the beach lovers and tourists. Second question, what are some of the activities that the tourists can enjoy? Possible answer could be, these are enjoying the crystal clear waters, white sand beaches, amenities, facilities, and nightlife. The third question is, were there contact information? Cite some. Yes, there are contact numbers, websites, and address given. The fourth question is, when will it happen? What is the time frame? The offers are actually available year-round. Last question is, why should some tourists love Boracay? The possible answer is because Boracay is considered as a tropical paradise in the Philippines.
Congratulations, learners! You already have the skill on how to get information from print media, particularly a brochure. Before having an activity, let us learn first that a brochure has text features, with parts of printed items that help the reader to find and learn information easily, such as print features, organizational aids, graphic aids, and pictures or illustrations. These are essential in knowing and learning about the features in a brochure. Remember that a brochure can be a valuable tool in explaining, answering questions, and educating or promoting an event. Brochures are professional looking, and with the text features, they can greatly attract a wide variety of audience. For you to get and understand the information, always be guided with these features of our brochures as follows. First, print features with font, italics, bold print, colored print, bullets, titles, headings, subheadings, labels, sidebars, text boxes, and captions. Second, organizational aids with table of contents, index, glossary, preface, pronunciation guide, and appendix. Third, graphic aids with diagrams, sketches, graphs, comparisons, figures, maps, charts, tables, cross-sections, timelines, and overlays. Fourth, illustrations with colored photographs, color drawings, black and white photographs, black and white drawings, label drawings, and enlarged photographs. Now that you already know how to get information from a brochure, kindly get your activity sheet and do the instructions. Directions. Get information from the given brochures and answer the questions that follow.
Thank you for your time, learners. This is Mama Halia
and Mom Pinky,
your English teacher, is saying, continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Bye!
Hello grade 9 learners, I am Teacher James and welcome to another learning episode of Astral Academy's Cyber School. Our lesson for today in TLE 9 Bread and Pastry Production is to store bakery products according to established standards and procedure. Storing bakery products is one of the most important activities after baking preparation. Bakery products are to be kept properly to avoid spoilage. Here are the storing techniques of your bakery products. Wrapping, to draw, fold, and cover a bakery product. Packaging material, used to package bakery products like box, plastic, or container. Cold storage, the process of preventing perishable food on a large scale at a low temperature or above the freezing point, which is 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Chilling. It is a method in which raw or processed food is cooled to a temperature between 0 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. Freezing. Subjecting food to temperature below freezing point or 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Using refrigerator. It is an appliance to make or keep something, especially food or drink, cold so that it stays fresh, usually in a fridge. There you have it, learners. Those are the different ways of storing bakery products. This time, let's try to check your learning from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, keep storing memories as they are never gonna repeat in your life. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tangub Stars.
If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not take revenge?
Are the lines familiar? Those are actually taken from the famous play, The Merchant of Venice, written by the most celebrated and famous author and playwright, William Shakespeare.
Hey there, grade 10 learners! Are you now ready for another meaningful lesson to learn? Bear with us as we identify the language features of argumentative text such as rhetorical questions and declarative statements.
Have you ever tried asking questions that may have an obvious answer? Or one that requires no answer at all? Or a question that you can immediately answer? If you did, then surely you have employed or applied rhetorical questions.
For a sort of recap and to avoid confusions, let us be acquainted with the following terminologies. Argumentative text or essay is a genre of writing that requires the student to investigate a topic, collect, generate, and evaluate evidence, and establish a position on the topic in a concise manner. Rhetorical question is a question asked to create an impact or make a statement rather than getting an answer. It is a powerful literary device when used effectively can add immense value to your writing. Declarative statement more technically refers to what is expressed by such a sentence. Statements have truth value. They are true or false, although for a given statement, we may not know its truth value.
Now, let us play back this episode of the video and analyze if the question asked by Totoy is rhetorical.
Mga kabarads, paalala lang sa mga nagbabalak mamasyal dito, kailangang sundin natin ang mga protocols kasama na doon ang pagsuot ng face mask, face shield at temperature check. Dahil kung above 37 degrees, hindi ka pwedeng makapasok. Hindi rin tayo dapat mabahala dahil sinisecure na ng ating LGUs ang kaligtasan ng lahat. May mga first aider tayong nakaantabay 24 oras.
So ngayon Barad, ipaliwanag muna natin kung bakit hindi kasing laki noon ang Christmas symbols natin ngayon.
Tumpak Barad, maswerte tayo ngayon dahil nandito si Sir Deca, ang tourism officer ng Tanggub. O Sir, maaari niyo po bang i-explain sa ating mga kabarad kung bakit Christmas Village sa halip na naglalaki ang Christmas symbols?
Based on our definition a while ago, a rhetorical question does not aim at getting an answer. Let us take a look at the scenario. Did Totoy ask the question to get an answer? Definitely, yes. Totoy wanted an answer from Sir Deca, but it is not the yes or no answer because it's obvious. He actually wanted an explanation right away. Let us translate the question and analyze it again. Sir, can you explain to our viewers why the concept is Christmas Village instead of the traditional gigantic Christmas symbols?
Given the question, the expected answer is not whether or not Sir Deca can answer the question, but to actually provide an explanation. This may fall short of our definition of a rhetorical question.
This time, let us borrow the words of William Shakespeare in his play, Merchant of Venice. For surely, those are rhetorical questions. And we will discuss what makes each of them a rhetorical question and what effect does it convey to the readers. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge?
As you can see, Shakespeare used not just one but 4 rhetoric questions. Do the questions evoke human empathy? Were you moved or touched with the questions? If yes, then the literary technique is effective because it moves us and pushes us to think.
We use rhetorical questions in argumentative text if we want to.
First, hook readers. When you begin with a rhetorical question, you make the reader reflect and give an indication of where you are headed with your argument instead of starting your essay with a dull, boring statement. Posing a question to make a point is a lot more striking.
Second, evoke emotions. When you manage to trigger an emotional response and strike a chord with the reader, that is when your writing is considered truly effective. Whether it is evoking the feelings of joy, sadness, rage, hope, or disgust, using rhetorical questions thus manage to steer the kind of emotional appeal you're going for. If you want readers to nod with agreement, using rhetorical questions to garner that response is a good idea, which is why rhetorical questions are used in argumentative or persuasive texts.
Number 3, make a point. Making a statement and following it up with rhetorical question is a smart way to emphasize it and drive the message home. It can be a disturbing statistics, well-known fact, or even argument that you are presenting, but when you choose a question, it tends to draw more emphasis.
The fourth one, this is the last, make a smooth transition. Using rhetorical questions is one way you can connect paragraphs and maintain cohesiveness in writing. You can pose a question when you want to introduce a new point or conclude a point and emphasize it.
There are actually types of rhetorical questions, and for this lesson, we will be discussing the 3 commonly used types.
The first one is epiplexis. Is an interrogative figure of speech in which questions are asked in order to rebuke or reproach rather than to elicit answers. It is a form of argument in which a speaker attempts to shame an opponent into adopting a particular point of view. Examples: am I my brother's keeper? Second one, why do we live so greedily when others go without meals every night?
Number 2, erothesis is a rhetorical figure used when the speaker adopts a kind of interrogation primarily not to express a doubt, but ironically and confidently asserting the reverse of the statement. Examples: how many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? Second, what should honest citizens do?
Third one is ratiocinatio. Is reasoning typically with oneself by asking questions. More specifically, ratiocinatio can mean making statements, then asking the reason, ratio, for such an affirmation, then answering oneself. Examples: first, we must buy a more fuel-efficient car, maybe a hybrid. Why? Gasoline prices are rising every week. Second, what's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The tempter or the tempted? Who sins most?
Now that you already know much of rhetorical question, let us proceed to the characteristics of declarative statement that are commonly used in argumentative texts.
For the purpose of argumentative writing, which is commonly persuasive in nature, unless you are delivering a speech or extended piece of writing, the declarative statements in paragraphs should be kept relatively short and to the point.
The desired effect is to get your message across as concisely as effective as possible by choosing vocabulary very carefully and employing a range of persuasive techniques. If you include quotations from a reliable sources or eyewitness to support your arguments, make sure you use speech marks.
Alright, those are the things that you need to know in order to showcase your learning in this lesson. In a little while, you're expected to identify the language features in argumentative texts, specifically the rhetorical questions and declarative statements.
Are you now ready to show us what you understood from this lesson? Get your activity sheet and read the directions.
Activity number 1, directions. Read and analyze the following questions carefully and choose the latter of the best answer. Activity number 2, directions. Write one declarative statement which expresses your claim or belief about the controversial coronavirus vaccine.
Dear learners, life may seem an endless search for answer, but always remember that some questions in life remain unanswerable because the mysteries are part of the great schemes of things, making us walk through in life with faith that the uncertain and unknown journey is worthwhile.
Thank you for being with us, grade 10 learners. I am Mama Halia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, is saying, continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Stay tuned for up next is a brand new lessons in TLE. Bye!
Hello grade 10 learners, I am Teacher James and welcome to another learning episode of Astral Academy Cyber School. Our lesson for today in TLE 10 Housekeeping is to observe safety measures and procedures in handling cleaning tools, equipment, and other supplies. Particularly, we will be discussing the safety in handling cleaning chemicals. Cleaning chemicals are used to make the cleaning job easy, such as all-purpose cleaner, detergents, abrasives, and many more. Chemicals should be handled and used properly, for they are hazardous to the user's health and safety. Here are the safety practices in handling cleaning chemicals in the housekeeping. Use the appropriate protective equipment when handling concentrated cleaning chemicals. There should be a complete list of all cleaning chemicals used in the facility. Details like how many gallons are stored, where they are stored, potential hazards, and precautionary measures for each chemical should be included in the list. There should be safety data sheets for each chemical used or stored. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions of using the chemicals. If not used the right way, these cleaning chemicals may not effectively work and can be harmful. All cleaning chemicals should be kept in their original containers. Never mix chemicals even if they are of the same type. Combining ammonia and chlorine bleach, for example, can produce the fatal gas chlorine gas. Do not use different cleaners as an alternative unless the intended use is the same. Install safety signage that quickly conveys possible dangers and precautions related to the chemicals. It is important that you know exactly what the following signal words mean. Caution: the product should be used carefully but is relatively safe. Warning: the product is moderately toxic. Danger: the product is highly toxic and may cause permanent damage to skin and eyes. There you have it, learners. Those are the safety practices in handling cleaning chemicals. This time, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Housekeeping 10 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, tomorrow is your reward for working safely today. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tangub Stars.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub.
Tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tugtog na. radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time.
Good afternoon to all our junior high school learners. Welcome
to Astral Academy Cyber School.
I am Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And of course, I am Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo of Sumirap National High School.
And I am Teacher James Murphy Saporno of Sumirap National High School, and we are
your teacher facilitators today.
Today, learners, is January 20, 2022. And since it is Thursday, Sir James and Mama Halia, today is another English and TLE Subjects Day.
Yes, that's right. That will happen right after this short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Yes, that's right, Sir James. And for our grade 7 learners,
Hello
hi
there, grade 7 learners.
Okay, and our learning competency for today is actually to research information using print and non-print media sources.
Okay, since last meeting, you already knew how to do research work using the World Wide Web and using other platforms. So today, we will be learning how to do the research work using the print media. So we will be having some sort of review, Mamahalia.
Yes, that's correct. And there are some terms that they need to understand in order to be able to move forward in this lesson. Okay, Sir James, the first term
So the first term is media. When you say media, it is a general term to the communication outlets through which we inform to public the different important data like news, music, movies, education, promotional messages, and other data. It includes physical and e-newspaper or online newspaper, magazines, billboards, radio, televisions, telephone, and of course the internet.
Yes,
that's correct.
And when we say the media, just bear in mind, learners, communication outlets. That is the keyword there.
Okay. And there are, of course, two types of media. The first one is the print media, and the second one is the non-print. When we talk about print media, of course, printed. So this is something to do with using the printing, the photocopiing, or the digital methods from which multiple copies can be made through automated process. So this is considered as the oldest type of media that can still be used up to this day.
Yes.
So some examples, of course, are newspapers, tangible things that we can actually hold with our own hands, the books, for example, and other journals.
Yes, of course. And on the other hand, the non-print media is used to inform people without using paper or print. This is the opposite of the print media, and this is the usual material or platform we are using nowadays.
That's correct.
Yeah, and they have they have become very common to all people because they serve both as a tool in the educational process and as a means of spreading information all throughout the world. Then, Sir James, there are non-print media examples.
Yes,
what are those?
of course. So when we say examples of non-print media, we have the television and the radio, using our mobile devices or cell phones, and posting on the internet through social media, podcast, website, and of course, videos.
Okay. And what we are doing right now, this is actually, dear learners, an example, of course, of non-print media.
Okay, so for our activity, what is that, Mamahalia?
Okay, the directions as a grade 7 student, your teachers will be asking you to do some researching on a certain topic to be used in essay writing or reporting. You are now going to list down your sources and answer what is needed on the box below. So for example, the topic is on election, so you need to fill in on the table. This is just an example, the possible sources, where to get information about the upcoming elections. And of course, you also need to tell your teachers if you think that these information are trustworthy. You just need to say yes if it is trustworthy, no if it's not, and of course the reason why you believe that these sources are trustworthy or not.
That's right, Mamahalia. And of course, on your SLM, the given example there, I think, is about COVID-19. But in here, we prepared another example about election. So as what Mamahalia said, you are going to fill the table with the needed information. Example here, topic election. Where did you get the information? Or the source, what is the source of information? For example, the Facebook. So do you trust the source? If yes, just write yes. If no, no. So in this example, the answer, our example answer is no. Then the why? What is the reason for having the no answer? So because there are unverified informations posted on Facebook.
Okay, yes. If they wanted to know if the information on Facebook is true, of course, they actually need to double check it, to check it against other publications. So if it's available, then that means you can trust it.
Okay, and so I think our grade 7 learners are now ready to really comply or complete their
They actually have two activities.
Yes.
So the second one, Sir James, is...
Yes, of course. And for your activity 2, the directions there is to research 5 information about a given topic, then indicate the source. So the topic there is, of course, COVID-19.
Okay.
Possible sources, you have there BBC News. This is an example of non-print, okay?
Yes,
because you
non-print.
can actually watch BBC on any platforms nowadays. So especially on Facebook, there are also some links shared right now. There are also a lot of channels. You can also say Nas Daily, for example. There are some sources, also good sources, that these vlogs provide.
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
All
And
right.
I think this time we'll proceed with our
Grade 8 learners. Hello there, grade 8 learners.
So for this, the skill that we are going to develop, or the competency this morning, will afternoon rather, will be given by Sir James. What is that?
So our competency for English 8 is to compare and contrast the presentation of the same topic in different multimodal texts.
That is correct. And of course, we need to remember that when you talk about multimodal text, these convey meaning through combination of elements that draw upon several semiotic systems. So when you talk about this system, these are signs and symbols which we use to convey meaning. Some basic examples, there are actually 5. So you have visual, of course, what we see, with our very own eyes.
Yes.
Okay. We also have oral. All right.
Okay, so
Okay.
I think that is found on our next slide.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So when you talk about linguistic, this has something to do with the vocabulary, the structure, the grammar, oral and written language.
Yes.
And audio, of course, the volume, the pitch, the rhythm of music, and the sound effects. And we also have Mampi.
Of course, the gestural, from the word gesture. It refers to movement, facial expression, and body language.
Okay.
And
Of course, lastly, we have the spatial.
Yeah.
Spatial. All right.
It refers to the proximity, the direction, position of layout, organization of objects in space.
That
Okay,
is
I'm
correct.
sorry for the spelling.
Okay.
Organization.
All right. So
Okay.
we have their task is actually to compare and contrast the presentation of the same story. You have the tale of Chunyang. This is actually a love story, a Korean love story.
Wow. Our students love
different-
this.
Yeah, in different multimodal text. So because this is for grade 8 students, this story is really into them. So what they need to do is to actually compare. No, you have 2 things to compare. First is the short animated video clip. I think on their SLM there is a link to it.
Yes.
All right. And next there would be another one is the plot diagram. Or no, the second one is it is a plot diagram through the use of a Venn diagram. Okay. So you need to compare those, the text and the animated clips. So how
Yes.
are you to do that? So I think there are some examples. Okay. All right. So
Yes, of course. And we will give you more or knowledge on how to accomplish the
so
task.
you have, yes, of course, if you have the Venn diagram, of course, because you need to compare and contrast using the Venn diagram. On the first side, maybe you have the text version and then the animated version, the animated video, for example. So on the other sides of the Venn diagram,
Yes.
we need to
you need to give
give
the
the
differences.
At in the center, Sir James.
Is the similar
Yes,
similarity or
exactly.
are the similarities?
Of course. So when you say what's similar among or between these
Yeah.
two, they have the same story, of course. They have the same theme, and they have the same characters.
Yes, exactly.
But in the text version, Sir James,
In the text version, they use as visual linguistic and of course the spatial modes.
yes.
Okay.
But in the animated video,
In the animated video, of course, it uses all 5 modes, such as the visual. You can see it. The linguistic words are used also. Spatial, the oral, and the gestural modes. You
Yes.
can see everything. You can
everything
hear
because it's
everything.
already a video.
Yeah.
All right, so I think you can include this. They can include this on their answers, and they could
Yes.
also provide other differences.
Yes,
That is
yes.
just an example in how to compare and how to contrast using the Venn diagram.
Okay.
Yes.
And, of course, more of those when we return. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipin na, ipipin na, ipipin na. Halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipin na, ipipin na, ipipin na. Halika na.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Yes, and this time we will be having our grade 9 learners.
Hello.
Hello. So what are our competency this afternoon, Mahalia, for grade 9 English?
Alright, that is to get information from various print media.
Okay, so the skill that you're going to develop is to get. Remember, it's to get information from print media. Okay, so when we speak print media, it is a print-based media or broadly any written or pictorial form of communication produced mechanically or electronically using printing, photocopying, or digital methods from which multiple copies can be made through automated processes. And of course,
there are
Mahalia,
several tools used in print media, and they are as follows. You have the newspaper as an example, the magazines, the journals, the newsletters, the flyers, brochures and pamphlets, leaflets, and of course the posters.
Okay, just remember when you say print media, all materials in print.
Yes, and we have an
which you can
example,
read.
Sir James, that
So,
is.
an example of a print media is a brochure. It is a concise, visually appealing, and well-designed document in order to grab the attention of the viewers. It is printed media or an informative paper document often used for sharing and is usually a promotional material. Brochures are also being referred to as flyers, pamphlets, and leaflets.
Okay, in addition to what Sir James said, maybe learners will wonder why we focus on brochure only. So since our competency is to get information from various print media, this afternoon we will focus in brochure only, Mamahalia. But learners, you can get information from different or various print media. But this afternoon, brochure lang sa taha.
Okay, so there are a lot of ways or there are a lot of uses for a brochure. Okay, first is that it can be used to explain your organization's purpose and services. It could also provide significant information about organization or travel and to educate people about a specific program or event. And I think the very given example that we have is a travel brochure.
That's right.
Okay.
And in that brochure, you can see the following features or what are the things you can see in the brochure. The first, of course, we have the print features that this involves the font, the italics, bold or bold print, the colored print, the bullets, titles, headings, subheadings, labels, sidebars, text boxes, and captions. When you do in a Word document, you can see this.
Yes,
this
exactly.
command, these icons.
Alright. This is if we connect this to the previous lesson of grade 8 students, I think if they're watching, so this has something to do with the spatial mode because it has how you see text, how are they connected, the proximity, the nearness of this text, what are being emphasized. Next, Sir James, we also have the
another feature of a brochure is the organizational aids or are the organizational aids. These are the table of contents, index, glossary, preface, pronunciation guide, and of course the appendix.
Okay, from the word aid. So to aid our readers, or we as readers will be assessed, or we will be assessed on how to understand the whole thing found in the brochure.
Okay, and of course, we also have graphical aids or graphic aids. using the diagrams, sketches, graphs, comparisons, figures, maps, charts, tables, and cross sections, timelines, and or also overlays.
Yeah. And of course, we have the illustration. These are the colored photographs, the colored drawings, black and white photographs, black and white drawings, label drawings, and enlarged photographs. In a brochure, it is important to use photographs. For what purpose? To make your
Brochure,
presentation,
yes.
yeah, more
Beautiful, attractive, creative.
creative.
And of course, maybe you might be wondering why some pictures are enlarged compared to the others. That could be your focus. Maybe you need to enlarge pictures with very good quality
Yes.
in order to attract your readers.
That's right.
So they can see on their screen an example.
Okay, I think this is the part of their activity already on our previous slide.
Yes.
We can
it's
see there the direction. So what are we going to do is, what you are going to do is to get information from the given brochures or brochure only, and answer the questions that follow on your SLM. We have 5 questions, Somalia.
I see.
The brochure is very nice, actually.
Yes.
It
And
reminds us to travel again.
again,
I miss traveling.
when everything is fine.
Yes.
So the first question is, how will you describe the place being featured in the
Okay,
brochure?
this is the item number 1 in your SLM learner.
Okay, the sample answers or James?
So an example answer to that is, of course, Bohol is one of the most attractive destinations in the Philippines.
Exactly.
Yes,
I would agree to that.
Me
Yes.
too. I can't agree more. And we have the item number 2, Mahalia. This is not found in your SLM, but we added this as an additional drill only,
Okay.
or exercise. How do Boholanos or people in Bohol call their place? So the answer, Mahal, is?
Okay, so for the Boholanos, they think that Bohol is God's little paradise.
Yes, you can see that line on the
brochure, I think.
Okay, so good luck, learners. Good luck, learning learners.
And now, of course, we are down to our grade 10 English
hello,
learners. Hi
grade 10
there.
learners.
Okay, your competency is to identify language features of an argumentative text. What are these again? You have declarative statements and, of course, rhetorical questions. Okay, so what is an argumentative text, Sir James?
Okay, so when we say argumentative text or essay, it is a genre of writing that requires the student to investigate a topic, collect, generate, and evaluate evidence, and of course, establish a position on the topic in a concise manner.
That's right. And of course, a rhetorical question. This does not demand an answer actually, because it's just asked to create an impact or make a statement rather than getting the answer, of course. It is a powerful literary device which, when used effectively, can add immense value to your writing, of course. So because by asking these types of questions, your readers can ponder upon
it's a thought-provoking questions.
Provoking questions. Like, for example, I think most of the movies in Philippine cinema are using rhetorical questions. Like, for example, it just popped in my head. Mahal mo ba ako dahil kailangan mo ako?
Wow.
Kailangan mo ako dahil mahal mo
Pwede
ako. Something
both.
like that.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's right, diba? And a question that is not necessary, but not necessarily needing an answer. So it's up to you how will you answer that question. And of course, we have the declarative statement. From the word declaring or declare, it is more technically refers to what is expressed by such a sentence. These are statements that have truth value. They are true or false, although for a given statement, we may not know its truth value.
Okay, so there are 3 types of rhetorical question. The first one is epiplexis. Yes, epiplexis. This is an interrogative figure of speech in which questions are asked in order to rebuke or reproach rather than to elicit answers. It is a form of argument in which a speaker attempts to shame an opponent into accepting a particular point of view. For example, What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul?
That's
Yeah,
right.
you get the entire universe and lose yourself in the process. So,
Yeah, I think in
Yeah.
this
Would not
line,
be-
Mamahalya, the character of a person is emphasized more.
yes, exactly. Second, Sir James, is
The second one is erotesis. It is a rhetorical figure used when the speaker adopts a kind of interrogation, primarily not to express a doubt, but ironically and confidently asserting the reverse of the statement. So there is an example there.
How long, O Caitlin, will you abuse our patience? And for how long will this madness of yours mock us? To what end will your unbridled audacity hurl itself?
Wow.
So, it's so big, right?
Kagipamuka yun sa iya,
Yes,
mahal ang
exactly.
katotohanan.
And
Okay, and
last
of course,
one.
we have the ratiocinatio, or it is a reasoning, typically with oneself by asking question. More specifically, ratiocinatio can mean making statements, then asking the reason or the ratio for such an affirmation, then answering oneself. So, iyang pangutana, iya po,
Yung tubag. Yeah.
Depends on your conscience, siguro. Okay, example. What's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The temper or the tempted who sins most? So
Both.
This, both.
If we are to answer
Yeah.
that, yeah, if how do you call it? If you are tempted, then that means you give
You are
in.
equally guilty.
Yeah, you're equally
Exactly.
guilty.
If you're the reason for that sin,
then
you're
you're
also
you're
sinful.
yeah.
Ang nakasala o ang rason,
Rason nga
na
nung nakasala.
Ang tentasyon o ang
nanintad. That's
so
right.
actually in the court of law, I think we have like for example, accessory to the crime could
Yes,
also
of
be a
course.
criminal.
Oo, because a particular crime could not be completely done
Without
without your
accessories.
cooperation. Nagpailad man ka or nagpa-victim. So, that's
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Okay, so
their activity number 1, Sir James, is
Your first activity for today is to read and analyze the following questions carefully and choose the letter of the best answer.
okay, of
A
course.
multiple choice.
Yes, that's easy. And number 2 is to write one declarative statement which expresses your claim or belief about the vaccine. So, for example, of number 1, just to have a taste of it. So, which among the rhetorical questions is an example of epiplexis? Okay, so we will no longer, I think the bold one is the answer.
okay, letter D.
Okay, all right.
Okay, learners, so you read your SLM very carefully and
Yes,
do not
exactly.
leave your SLM without
An answer,
An
yes.
answer.
You tend to submit something to your teachers without an answer. So
Some students.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Please, reminder only.
it is better for you to have an answer because your teachers might credit
Your
effort.
effort.
yes
At
for
least you've
writing.
tried.
You've tried answering, even if it's not the very prompt.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, so more discussions after a short break. This is still
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division. Problema dali ra sulbaron, kay ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman.
And we're back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
And for our junior high school learners, take note of that attendance marker, second attendance marker flashed on your screen.
Yes, that's correct. So you need to copy that one and write that on their
Yes.
SLM for your attendance.
All right, now we will move to our next subject this afternoon, which is TLE. And of course, we will start with TLE 7, Embroidery Exploratory Course, and our learning competency.
That is to identify basic tools in embroidery.
All right, so this afternoon we will be learning the tools and materials necessary in embroidery. So what is a
are
tool, or what
tools?
are tools?
Yes, tools refer to small or handy devices, instruments used in sewing, while materials or supplies are those that are consumed in finishing a project.
So examples of tools kay sayon ra mo kay ni siya nga topic. So ato ni siya ikuan kung tools class mo ni siya ang mga gamit nga gamiton para mag-embroidery. Kanang mga materials ug supplies mo na siya ang katong mga consumables, mahurot.
Okay.
Okay? So, tools, examples of tools that are used in embroidery, we have the gauge. Ang kanang gauge, kay mo na siya gamiton nato kung mag-measure ta ginagmay nga measurements. And then we also have, of course, the tape measure.
Of course,
So,
you are
Ma'am Pinky, familiar ka tape measure, Ma'am, no?
I'm so much familiar with this because before I am always measuring my waistline.
Okay, so tape measure class ha mo na siya ang katong para measure nga kasagarang ginagamit sa mga tailors or manahiay. And of course, we have the thimbles. So, unsa man ang thimbles? Kung makita ninyo sa inyong SLM, mura na siya og baso nga gamay nga maigo sa inyong mga tudlo. Then, inyo na siyang ibutang sa inyong tudlo haron while nag-embroidery mo, dili mo matusok sa dagom. And then we also have the crewel. Crewel, na duha ni siya kabuk nga klase sa dagom ang gamiton sa embroidery. Na si crewel and of course the chenille. Kung mingon ta crewel, yes, of course, kung mingon ta crewel, mo ni sila ang mga dagom nga gagmay-gagmay ug mga bangag or buho nga sudlanan sa mga
sa
threads. Ang chenille pod kay dagom nga dagko ni siya og mga bangag or buho nga maigo pud siya sa mga dagko nga klase sa mga threads. Kay kung nakabantay mo sa mga threads or kanang yarns nga gamiton, yes, napo na siya nagkalain-lain klase sa gidakon. So magdepende sa dagom nga inyong gamiton kung unsa nga klase or gidakon sa inyong yarn nga gigamit sad.
And in addition to that, Sir James, our male or boy nga mga learners, they have to listen to this topic also. Kay dili lang ni pang girls, di ba, Sir James?
Yes. Actually, kung sa una kay gato magud sila nga ang kanang embroidery pambabayi lang. But actually, I've heard sa tawag na stories from our teachers before in TLE nga sa unang panahon, katong walang patacho. Sa unang panahon, mga lalaki daw kasagaran magbuhat og embroidery kay ilang i-gift sa ilahang mga sana no yung lagi. Pero actually, ko ang embroidery sad kung makatunta, dili lang siya man for lesson lang. Kuwan po siya, it's also a hobby and a pastime.
And
No,
they
samot
can-
nagwalay kuryente, walay internet, magunsa ta pwede ta mag-embroidery
Yeah,
kung
and they can
kabalota.
create income out of
There
their
are
Yes.
some
their
dress
products.
made of embroidery and they're very nice.
And they're
Mm-mm.
expensive.
Yes,
True.
expensive kay kuan
Mahal
man gud siya,
sila.
handmade,
Handmade.
dili siya machine made.
Tama.
Okay, so
Okay.
another tool used in the embroidery work is the embroidery hoop or stiletto. Unsa din na siya? Kana na siyang murag lingin nga diin diha nimo ipahaom ang imuhang panapton nga embroideran haron lisod bitaw kayo ang panapton, say for example kaning imuhang cloth nga dili siya magbinat.
Binat.
Oh, so kanang
Saying
embroidery hoop na to mo na siya magbinat sa imuhang cloth kay haron dali ra or mas mapasayon ang imong pag-embroider.
Yes.
So another tool is of course the embroidery scissor
Scissors.
or gunting.
Of course.
Yes, so another tool is the needle threader. Kaning needle threader mo ni siya gamit kaayo especially kung maglisod kag sulod
Tautog mata,
Makasabot
pares na
na
ako.
makasabot ni Sir James.
kanang gagmay
Yeah,
kayo
true.
nagbangag ng mga needles
Just like
ni maglisod
mamahalya.
ka
Yes.
og sulod.
Very
Yes.
nearsighted and
Kani
very
si needle threader may pinaka partner nimo haron dali ra kayo masulod
Kani si
ang
needle
kuan.
threader, mao gini siya si small but terrible.
Mm-mm.
Gamay kay ni siya, but dako kay siya gamit.
Yes.
True.
Kinahanglan po din mo siyang ampingan gamay kay since mura ta siya ang iyang metal ana nga mooy mutabang nimo pasulod sa kung kay dali ra man gud na siya mabali ma'am, so dili po din mo siya kinahanglan or dapat basa-basa lang nga ibalibag.
Okay.
All right. So another tool is we have the watercolor brush. Ngano magamit mo tag color brush kay para ni sa atong mga pattern na puhon. If ever nga magbuhat tag mga pattern na nga mga complex na nga design ang atong
Designs.
To
i-embroider.
guide us as to the color of
Yes.
thread
Of the
na ato
thread to
gamiton.
Yes, exactly. And then another tool we have the pin cushion. So familiar kay ninyo kasagaran gid ani kung makita niyo sa inyong SLM nga picture kanang murag apple or kamatis
Kamatis.
nga tusukanan. Pero
Or pumpkin.
yes, actually, pero iguran siya tusukanan haron organize nimo ang imuhang mga pins and needles.
Di po siya matayan, Sir
Di sila
James.
magkatagpon.
And of course, you
Or
also
to locate
have
them.
your embroidery bag. So kanang embroidery bag kay para imong
Or your
taguanan
place.
sa imong mga tools and materials
Okay,
para
mga gagmay sila nga
ma-organize
tools.
nimo sila. Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
But of course, karon kay kasagaran kay organizer na gyud kay
Yes,
mas
we
kuan man
have
ta
those.
the organizer box.
Social na.
Mm-mm.
Naghan na sa online, Sir James.
Yes, exactly. So those are the tools used in embroidery. Now we will move to the materials.
These
So
are
katong
the
mga
consumables.
consumables. So of course, the very first consumable is
fabric.
Yeah.
fabric or ang mga tela or cloth. So when we say fabric, Ma'am Pinky,
Of course, these are cloth are of great variety and they differ in material, in weight, weave, design, color, and finish.
alright. So
course.
of course kung makabantay ta, magdepende pud kung unsa nga
Yes.
klase sa cloth. Naay mga cloth nga klaro
We have
kayo
different.
ang pagkas
Kanilang Sir James,
buhat.
ito ang cloth.
Kani kay lisod ni siya. Kay
Lahi
di
siya
kay na
texture.
makita
Yes.
ang iyahang mga bangag-bangag.
Okay,
Yes.
there are actually 3 types of fabric.
The common weave, the even weave, and of course the basket weave. So mabantayan ra na nato sila if kana lagi mga bangag-bangag sa ato ang mga cloth. Kay usually man gud mo man gamito nato nga pattern haron harmonious ang atong pagka-embroidered sa cloth.
Sa
Yes.
cloth. So the design will also depend on the fabric.
Yes.
And
Then next,
also the thread, of course. If we have a
Of course.
fabric, we have also the thread.
They should be very colorful.
Yes.
or sa ato ang binisaya mo na siya ang mga hilo.
Hilo.
Dili
or
hilo ha. Hilo class. Hilo.
Tanod.
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 True. That's
So, of
correct.
course, they like texture, fiber, number of strands and color. The threads are all usually coded in numbers and color names. I remember that in cross-stitching, cross-stitch, coded ang mga colors.
Yes, exactly. Kay naman po yung mga colors nga lain og shades. Say for example, the pink
Yes.
na ay
There are lots of
light
shades.
pink,
Darker.
fuchsia
Yeah.
pink, and the likes. So, now we will move to your activity class. So, the direction there, Mamahalya.
Alright, the direction is to identify what embroidery tools and materials are referred by each statement below. So they are to write their answers on the space provided.
Very easy.
Yes,
Kay
exactly.
samot naminaw sila.
Alright, so hello there to our grade 8 learners.
grade 8
Our
na.
next
Hello.
competency for grade 8 learners is to identify hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing.
Of course, so ang grade 8 nato na napunta sa Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course. Now, of course, today we will be talking about the hardware tools commonly used in computer hardware servicing.
Pinagya po yung tools, Sir James.
Yes.
Exactly.
So to complete hardware repairs, it is important to have a toolkit that should contain all of the necessary tools, and as you gain experience, you will learn which tools to have available for different types of job. Of course, kay magdepende man kung unsa nga tools atong gamiton, kung unsa nga trabaho ang atong
And they are grouped
buhaton.
into 4 categories.
Yes.
You have the
Okay.
electrostatic discharge, the hand tools, cleaning tools, and of course, the diagnostic tools.
So kani si electrostatic discharge or ESD tools, these are static electricity is easily generated by friction or carpets, tile, flooring, clothing, hair, fabric, and etc. So the friction of moving air alone will charge suspended particles and cause the build-up of static electrical charges on people and objects in the environment, or in short, mao ni siya ang kanang grounds nato nga mga para sa mga kwan.
Yes.
Examples of electrostatic discharge tools are,
Of course, we have the anti-static wrist strap.
And,
Na sa SLM, makita ninyo
Yes.
and the
Sir
anti-static
James.
mats. Alright.
and now we will move to the hand tools. I know some of our learners, or most of our learners, are familiar with these tools. When we say
Okay,
hand tool,
in this subject po, Sir James, this is not limited to boys only po. Girls should learn also this topic.
Okay, so there are types of hand tools. You have the flats.
flathead screwdriver.
Screwdriver, yeah.
Short ko,
Because-
familiar ang mga bata ni.
They need to use it when they are to assemble, dismantle, and then go back again.
And then next we have the Phillips head screwdriver katumurag cross. And then the Torx screwdriver, the hex driver, the needle nose plier, the wire cutter, the tweezers, part retriever, and of course, we also have the
Where
flashlight.
my flashlight?
Kaya na may mga parts sa computer nga, say for example, katong mga suok-suok nga part na
Yes, we
niya.
cannot-
At dili
we
mo
can
siya
no longer
makita if
see
walay sugat.
Without the lights.
Yes.
We also have the cleaning tools. We have the lint-free cloth, the compressed air, the cable ties, and of course the parts organizer. This is for very small, tiny materials.
Yes.
Then, para mapadali po ang inyong paglimpyo sa mga computer parts.
Oo, because if not using this proper cleaning tools, madaot po siguro, for example, this cloth, the lint-free cloth, to
Yes.
avoid scratching or leaving debris. Kung magamit
Yes.
atong gapas-gapason, Sir James,
Yes.
ibis malito
Especially
ang
katong
monitor,
mga baraton nga cloth,
Oo,
bitaw karon
ka.
ma'am.
True. So
Malubog
it's
na
really
hinoon.
specific.
Yes.
And we also have some diagnostic tools. So what are these?
Okay, so as the name implies, diagnostics, these are gamiton para ma-diagnose kung unsay mga sakit-sakit or daot-daot sa ato
We
ang
have
computer.
Yes.
And of course, the loopback adapter.
Okay. So the directions on their SLM is just to label the hardware tools and each item below. Very easy for you. Write your answer on the space provided. This is a bonus. Stay
yes.
tuned
Good
because
luck.
we will be right back after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na ka sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. So
All
hi
right.
there, grade 9
learners. So now we are in our grade 9 bread and pastry production subject, and our learning competency this afternoon is
store bakery products according to established standards and of course procedure.
okay. So ato ni siya.
Maglibong yan sila sa ning store.
Dili na siya tindahan. Class ha?
Okay.
Storing means to keep
To
or
keep
keep.
something.
Yes,
Yes.
or ang tarong niya nga paghipos.
Paghipos.
Okay, so storing bakery products is one of the most important activities after the preparation stage. So bakery products are to be kept properly to avoid first and foremost spoilage. Of course, we need to, as much as possible, to prolong the life of our baked
Exactly.
products.
Yes.
So,
Tama.
dili ra man napalitan kung magbuhat ta. Say for example kung mamaligya man gitag pan pohon, dili ta magbuhat perming
Yes, without considering of
Yes.
course the
Oversupply
capacity
niya.
of the supply of course.
So
Yes.
dapat kabalo ta mo store nila properly and what to do to them kailan lain man pud og needs ang nagkalain-laing klase
Yes.
sa bakery product. So examples we have the bread and rolls in general storage. So bread mga pan, rolls kato mga soft rolls. Okay? So how to store them? Of course, it is ideal to store them at a room temperature between 75 degrees to 85 degrees Fahrenheit and in adequate space to prevent crashing. So, in short, dili siya pwede nga
Init kaayo or
Yes.
bugnaw kaayo.
Okay.
then dili po sila pwede nga kanang guot sa ilahang ko ang kay huplak sila.
So let's give them an example where to store it. So relatively dry place, well above floor level, in a unit, cleaned daily and scrubbed weekly, away from strong odors, particularly fish, onions, cabbage, garlic meats, and especially paints and cigarette smoke.
Yes.
Because those odors have the tendency
To spoil.
No, not only to spoil, but mo pilit
Change.
bitaw na
I
ang baho.
see. So you will
Change
no
the
longer
taste.
like to
Yes.
eat it.
So kabantay mo kung usahay mukha umupan mura lagi siya plastic ay. It's because
I see.
ubang nga mga plastic containers, especially the baratuhon nga containers.
True.
Baho gina siya plastic mo pilit
Melamine
gid na
siya.
ang iyahang odor.
And the worst ka naman, imahaw siyang isda, Sir James.
Yes,
Hindi na
exactly.
taginahan.
Of course.
So how to refresh? So unsa nibot pasabot ani how to refresh if ever nga taod-taod nimo siyang store.
Yeah.
True.
So stale bread and rolls for all practical purpose cannot be refreshed for optimum quality. Unsa nang stale kung minto sikat kung daot na gid siya. Of course, di na gid nimo siya ma-recover. Daot na gid na siya. But of
Dili na
course,
pugson.
di na siya
Yes.
ipugos. But of course, 2 or 3 day old
Matabang.
bread pwede pa unsaon man i-toast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like toasted
Wala
bread.
sila open toaster.
With margarine.
Yes.
Pwede gani sa pan.
Pan, yes. Pan toast. That is
Pan
pan
toast.
toast,
Ah, yes.
Martin.
I love that.
Yeah, me too,
Especially
of
in
course.
kape.
Oo, with butter and
Yeah,
bit of
true.
sugar toppings.
So that is how you store properly breads and rolls. Now we will move to the soft breads or sweet rolls. Kaning sweet rolls or soft breads mo ni sila ang murag pan nga mura pug cake. Sama sa banana muffin or
Mamon.
yes kana maingon ana. So unsaon man sila? Of course, the first thing that you need to do is to store them in their original wrappers and make sure that it is moisture and vapor proof to prevent drying out. That is why kasagaran karon sa mga pan, especially if kana mga mahalon nga pan, ang ilahang butanganan is the ziplock.
Oh, I see.
Kay
There are a lot of
para
that in Shopee.
dayon para dili siya makuha ba dali mahupas.
Extend the life.
Yes. And then asa man nimo sila taguan. Of course, you are to refrigerate.
to prevent
Of course.
mold growth. Kanang mura siyag
Gapas-gapas.
Yes.
Bulak na tawag sa ato ang
Bulak.
science.
Pudog color ba na?
Oo.
So in short, kung gi-mold na siya, dili na gid na siya makaon kay na siya
Bacteria.
Yes. Na-penetrate na siya mga bacteria.
Okay, you also have hard crushed breads and rolls. Okay, unwrapped. What does that mean?
Unwrap meaning to say, ang kanang hard crushed breads and rolls class kay kanang girap sa baking sheet. Or the the wax paper.
Oh, yeah.
Mayroon ta ko papel di hapon.
Yes. Of
Yes.
course, unsa man nimo siya
Are
i-unwrap
there
nimo siya.
some paper which can be eaten? Like, for example, white rabbit before. I think
It's
there's
made of
Yes, but
jelly.
I'm not really sure what type of paper is that.
True.
But of course, the most common paper wrapper that we are using in our locality.
They're not edible.
Yes, they're really not edible kay
Edible.
gi-colored ra ba gina sila. The
Exactly.
papel di hapon or the
So kung
Japanese
nakaon na yung
paper.
learners, next time ayaw nakauna.
Yes.
Experience po na mo before.
So asa man nimo siya i-store kung mga ingon ani nga klase sa
So,
bread.
in areas with circulating relativity, dry air. So, hard-crusted goods in general have a short shelf life since moisture from the crust making it soft and tough and soggy. So, can be stored in freezer, wrapped loosely in paper, but keep best when frozen, partly baked in vapor-proof wrapping.
So kung nakabantay mo, pwede siya i-freeze. So pwede din na nato i-freeze atong
I-freeze.
pano. Of course pwede, but before mo siya initog balik, you need to thaw it first.
Yeah, mag-thermal shock.
Yes.
Meaning, humukon sa
Pahumukon
dahon.
Mm-mm.
Pawala
Nandili
ng
sa
ice.
kayo siya bugnaw.
Then nga nung mang advisable po
Sa
usahay
karne.
ang pag-freeze. Of course, mas dako kay ang tendency nga walay bacteria nga makapenetrate
Yes.
niya kung 0 or below 0 degrees Celsius
Tugnaw man.
siya.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, we have cupcakes and muffins.
So asa man nimo siya pag taguan. Of course, pwede sa covered box para dili siya ma-dry out. Usually, kung may tag muffin or cupcake, dapat ni siya maka 1 day old kay para maka-moist siya, mas mulamit siya. But then, from gikan siya naka-moist, pag humanyag moist,
Pag maugma na.
mawala na po diya moist. So, mo nang dapat
Okay.
imo siyang i-cover. Kabantayin mo kung inyong cupcake kay inyo lang ibutang diretso sa ref.
Yes, mag-dry.
Mura siya muuga. Yes, kay
Yes,
mawala
exactly.
iyang moist. So, dapat ang cupcakes and muffins i-cover, ay ibutang siya og sealed
yun.
nga butanganan.
Okay.
So, next time.
Okay, then,
Crisp cookies.
Okay.
Asa po siya ibutang? Covered
Covered
box
box.
gihapon.
Okay. Soft, chewy cookies, still covered boxes.
Yes.
Tightly, airtight.
Yes.
Okay, so
and
for
of course,
their activity this afternoon in Bread and Page Production 9,
It's just an essay that is for them to answer the question how to properly store bread and rolls. That is for 10 points.
mahadlok ka ba itong learners anong essay? Don't be afraid in answering essay type of questions, learners.
Yeah, especially in TLE, if you don't you're not confident of English, you can answer it in Filipino. There's
Yes,
no
as long
particular
as the
language
thought
in
is
TLE.
there.
Yeah.
Just
the
express.
idea is correct.
Yes,
So,
of course.
the teacher
We'll
is...
still give you a perfect score.
Yes.
Okay, so hi there to all our grade 10 learners. Your
Hello.
learning competency is to observe safety measures and procedures in handling cleaning tools, equipment, and other supplies.
Of course, this is for our specialized housekeeping TLE subject.
Yes.
So, of course, kay housekeeping man ta, magamit yun ta og mga cleaning chemicals.
Yes,
because
exactly.
cleaning chemicals are used to make the cleaning job easy. Such as, of course, we have the all-purpose cleaner, detergents, abrasives, and a lot of more. So, we will have another topic with the cleaning chemicals commonly
Yes, because
used.
there are plenty.
Yes, in the housekeeping.
And
But for now,
Yeah.
before nato sila gamiton, ato sa hibaluan kung unsa may atong dapat buhaton aron safe ta sa paggamit ato nga mga
Yes,
chemicals.
because speaking of chemicals, naagid tay lahi nga misinterpretation usahay no that chemicals
Yes.
makadaot gid siya. But there are benefits of
Yes.
Lots of benefits sa chemicals. If
Dako
handled
kayo siya
properly.
o katabang ang mga chemicals kung sakto lang yun ang paggamit.
Yes.
Of course. And then in right proportion. Okay, so there are some. So let us just give them maybe some of these. Okay, leave the
So
others
here are the
for
safety
reading.
in handling cleaning chemicals. First, we have to use the appropriate protective equipment. So dapat mugamit ta og PPE, particularly our gloves and our mask, so that we can avoid inhaling them. Then there should be a complete list of all the cleaning chemicals used in the facility para makabalo ka kung asa ang mga dili pwede i-mix.
Yeah. Eh, basig na
And
reaction.
speaking of dili pwede i-mix, never mix any chemicals, cleaning chemicals nga magbuot-buot lang kag imuha.
Mag-experiment.
Like muriatic
Yeah.
acid, for example. You wanted to clean something, the CR, for example.
O say for example, mo gamit kag muriatic acid, you can use muriatic acid alone, but you cannot use
Mix
kay
it.
basing gusto ka nga matangtang jud ayon ng unsa nang nasa inyuhang CR. Magbutang kag muriatic acid, magbutang na pug kag kanang ammonia, magbutang pag yung kag chlorine kay para kuan kana tang ingon anak
Liquid
nga pagkuan
sosa.
nato. Syarog dili ni matangtang nga daghan na kay og gibutang pero
Basin ang
there
tiles na
is
matangtang.
yes, there is really
Reaction.
no, there is really danger in that. So for example, kung makakombine mo og ammonia, chlorine, bleach, pwede na siya makakreate og fatal gas nga gitawag nato og chlorine gas. Then mayats or mahilo na hinuong ka,
Yes.
makollapse ka. That is why never
So
mix
that's the
any
danger.
chemicals. Of course, it is also important that you know exactly what are the following signal words found on the label or their packaging of those cleaning chemicals na nakabutang caution, warning, and danger. So kung nana siya caution, meaning to say the product should be used carefully but is relatively safe. So dili kay siya ingon anak ka. Dili
Harsh.
Yes, harsh ang iyang kwan. Warning, the product is moderately toxic. But of course, if it is danger, then it is poisonous and the product is highly toxic
Yeah, I
and may
think
cause
it
permanent
comes with a
damage to
skull
skin
symbol.
and eyes. Yes,
symbol.
exactly. Kana,
Poison.
especially the acido. Okay, so
Alright, so-
those are.
Okay, and
We're
your
done.
activity
We're
on
done.
the SLM learners is actually to discuss the importance of having knowledge in handling and using cleaning chemicals properly, and that is good for 10 points. And of
Good luck,
course, our third
learners.
attendance marker is already on top of your screen. Okay, before we end, we would like to thank a lot of people. Firstly, of course, to our executive producer, Sir Gas.
Thank you, sir.
And to the entire production team, we will no longer mention them one by one. Mga gwapo ni sila tanan.
Yes.
This has been Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And I am your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo from Sumirap National High School.
And of course, this has been Teacher James Murphy Soporno of Sumirap National High School saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggub Stars. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Same
learners.
time.
Thank you.